last shipment.
Hey, calm down. Don't you ever tell me to calm down. You're right.
What are you doing? James, what are you doing?
It seems like every time I would turn on the TV, you were on some huge show. People recognize you, I imagine, because I remember one time we were in a restaurant and somebody came up and said they recognized you, and so it must happen to you a lot.
Usually Wire fans, a lot of Wire fans out there. Over the years, it just remains a popular show.
So you play this Greek mobster.
Spiros Vandas Vandopoulos.
And in this scene, you had to slit this guy's throat. What's that like? What did they teach you what you have to do?
Pure joy.
Really?
It's part of the job, but I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I was really happy to kill somebody like that because I had been killed so many times. So it's finally, I don't kill that often. I have a lot of deaths. I don't have that many murders. I've probably done more things with weapons than not. Guns and knives. So I'm very comfortable in that neighborhood. I've worked with a lot of stunt coordinators, a lot of fight scenes. So I'm very versed in physical, violent drama. I've played these killers and murderers and bad guys for decades. You know, it's the nose. It's the nose, Amy.
Yeah.
Have dinner with me tonight before you go to Santa Fe.
You have always been a very attractive man.
Thank you.
If you were starting your career today as a 20-year-old, I think you would get different roles. Yeah.
You know, that's interesting you say that. Yeah, I think I also gravitated to the urban street guy. I knew I could do that funny. Look at that guy over there. Holy shit. Look at that that guy. I'm able to play him. And I did him a lot in early commercials. Coast Soap, which was one of my first jobs. The Bugler told me, hey, how'd you know how to do that? The Bugler told me. I had a line like Brooklyn guy. So I gravitated to the street guys. I was comfortable more there. So I was the character guy.
Badge and gun, Cole. You're suspended. 1 month without pay. Repeated rank insubordination. Misallocation departmental resources. Come on.
I got a call to go do this part. And so I went in. I was really prepared. I knew everybody's lines. I knew my line. And they both were super nice as soon as I got there. Like, thank you for doing this. They were really, really great guys. It's a great chemistry in there for those few days. So I went in ready to chew them up.
Come on. Get him out of here. Get him the fuck out of here.
I had to break up a big fight between them. They were clawing at each other.
Get inside.
I went in kind of guns blazing because I had just worked with De Niro in a movie called Grudge Match with De Niro, Kevin Hart, and Stallone. And I was upset with myself because I didn't do what I wanted to do. They had it pre-blocked and I said, Paul, you'll stand there. And, blah, blah. And I just shut my mouth because I was frozen. Because as far as I am from this phone was Robert De Niro all effing day. And then he was also, a few days where he was 10 feet from me. And I'm not the only one, sometimes when it's the first day, you have to breathe. There he is, there's your more than idol. There he is, and I just kept staring at him the whole day.
Are you saying that I could bring my dog here too?
Yeah, you know what? That's not what he said.
I also was watching The Three Stooges. I was watching side by side, the real Mo and your version. You had his gestures, you had his intonation. I found it hilarious. I thought you did a fabulous job.
Thank you for saying that. Michael Chiklis was brilliant in that. Evan Handler was Larry. He was phenomenal too. And John Cassier was Shep. They were all great. So the night of the audition, I had a wig and I went into the mirror and I took a scissor and I went, I cut this thing right to here. And I looked in the mirror and I never thought, because everybody always imitates Curly. Yeah, see? Everybody does that guy, nobody does Mo. And I looked in the mirror and I had this bowl right here and I cut it just right and I went, yeah, what's the matter with you? Come here, you. And I went, right at that moment I said, you could get this. And I went in the next day. There was an emotional scene when Curly had a stroke and he couldn't talk and I got emotional in it. And that was, we got it.
Wow.
Shot in Australia. So any of the driving scenes, we had a fake steering wheel on the left side, the way we drive in the States. And the person next to me, my wife, in one scene, she was driving with a blanket over the steering wheel because it was an Australian car.
Oh, okay. Right.
A lot of stuff was being made in Australia at the time, in Sydney, 2000 Olympics at the time. It was a great time to be there. It was really exciting.
Wow.
Where they take Lolo? He's going back to jail.
Oh. Well, my best friend, Rosie.
I think the very first thing I saw you in, that's when I knew you were a good actor. Like I knew you had talent before, but you weren't recognizable. You just transformed into somebody who was completely different. What was your training? I don't remember. I know you went to Carnegie Mellon, but you were in design, right?
Yeah, but then I switched to acting. But this is all sort of, instinctual stuff. I'm just a mimic, I've been studying and watching, observing since I was a little kid.
So is it a particular person that you knew that you thought of?
They took us to an institution.
Oh.
Yeah, we hung out with some people there. I don't really remember that as well. There was a kid who lived next door to me on Ocean Avenue. So he was in my brain. He was so sweet. We called him Smiley. They just have that smile. And when I do that, it makes me very emotional very quickly. And so then you get in touch with this stuff and here, and then you just connect. And look, I went into that audition in character. I opened the door. They usually say, okay, whenever you're ready. So, hi, Paul. And I ignored everybody. And I just walked in character like this. And I went to the window. I just started staring out the window. And they had to say, go, Paul. And I didn't answer. Vinny. And I turned around and we started the scene. I wasn't even about getting it. I just knew I was the guy.
Interesting.
That was a good one.
Hey, calm down. Don't you ever tell me to calm down.
You all right?
Nice fucking relaxing day. Go!
Entourage just cracks me up. What was that like? Was that a good gig for you?
It was great. Fantastic gig. Yeah. That was a game changer because, the tough white collar guy, not blue collar, which was a lot of that was before that. Jeremy Piven, brilliant. Kevin Dillon. I'm a fan of that guy. Kevin Connolly has a whole podcast studio in town. He has one that I did on Entourage. We talked about some of the stuff from Entourage. One moment that was funny, I'll tell you, I was after I died. So Jeremy Piven, I'm in a coffin. He leans over and he goes, I just want to tell you, you're doing your best work. This is your best work.
You're not allowed to move. Did you start laughing?
I couldn't stop laughing the rest of this. Hilarious. He kept doing it, leaning in. You're doing great. This is really good. I'm impressed. I'm lying in the coffee. He was leaning in.
I'm not going to piss away my members' pension goal. That's something too risky.
This is not a risk.
Irishman was very exciting. Obviously, I had a tiny role. It's one little scene. But for me, it was just great to be asked to do that because I had just done a TV show called Vinyl. Scorsese produced, directing, Mick Jagger, executive producer, HBO. We were all sure we were going 5-7 years on this. And it was good. It was really good. I'd say that was one of the biggest heartbreaks because I really enjoyed the quality, the level was just top on that show.
With Pacino, right?
Yeah, I was very nervous that day because Pacino, I'm doing a scene with Ray Romano, who was great. I'd known him a little bit. And Scorsese, obviously, I'd known him, so I was a little more comfortable with that. And De Niro was sitting in the corner.
Right. He's on the couch in the background.
So I was like, okay, just take a deep breath, go to work. And I did. And so it was great. But the three of us are hanging out, me, Ray, and Al. Al says to Ray, says, oh, you should check out this movie I did. It was a little indie. I think it was called Chinese Coffee. And Ray was like, oh, no, I don't. I said, I've seen it. I know it. I know it. I said, yeah, it's part of this 4-box set. And he looks at me and goes, oh, you have that. You have that. I said, do I have it? Looking for Richard is in there. They did Richard III, and he played Richard. This combination documentary, interview, and him performing it. And he's brilliant. And he's wonderful. I said, oh, and Richard III is in there, which was, to me was really magnificent what you did. He was very sweet. And then after the scene that day, he scurries off real quick. And I just went, I wanted to say goodbye, turns around, bear hug. And off he went.
Wow.
So cool. I'm walking around backstage, if you will. And there's De Niro. And he looks at me and I go, hey. And he looks at me and he goes, grudge match, right? Grudge match. And I went, yes, we did that. I thank you for remembering. Yeah, grudge matches.
No. Well, at least tell me you're really making a Tippin documentary my wife's going to be in. God damn it.
Was that fun? I adore Timothy Oliphant. I think he's like so funny and cute. And of course, Drew Barrymore, she's a legend. What was that like?
Great. I don't think I had any scenes with her.
No, I don't think you did.
Just the table read. I met her, we did the table read. She was lovely. He was great. I get there and I feel like I'm at home, you know. Every day one, I've always felt, this is much more comfortable than out there in a lot of ways.
You mean being on set?
Yeah, being on set, being in my trailer, very comfortable. So that's how jobs have almost always been for me. I get there and feel very at home.
What's life like? Because I know for a while I was a freelance producer for years, and it was tough. Like I would have maybe a month or two where nobody was calling, and then all of a sudden someone would call and I was working again. How do you deal with those times in between?
Building, that's been my hobby. So while I'm working on a job, if I'm around the road or wherever I am, I know there's guys at the house. And it makes me really happy knowing there's a truck outside with guys. At least one truck I need, and that's like my drug. So that's filled up my time. That and working with my mom, who's a playwright, who you know, and we've worked on plays and movies and a TV show I'm working on now. I usually have had a project with her because she's a writer, and we've written together and stuff. I've been her dramaturg in a way over the years. That's a hobby, but mostly it's been some landscape, some stairs down a hill, some leak.
Do you do some of the work yourself, or you just manage it?
I am more now, because Callie, my wife, she's like, could you hang that and fix that and do that? So, babe, we'll just call somebody. She goes, you could do it. TikTok, YouTube. Guess what? You could build a skyscraper watching those TikToks.
Well, not anybody could, but yeah, you can learn a lot online. Yeah, sure.
Unbelievable. I'm on there every day. If it's not a Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali fight, I like to watch the old fight. The piece here.
Oh, hi, Arabella. How are you?
It's Amy. Want to say hi, Amy?
Hi, precious. So, Paul, thank you so much. It's been so fun catching up with you. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Amy, and let's do it again.
Sounds good.